Do you want to feel grounded and at ease in the world, where you experience a general sense of safety and trust in yourself and others, and feel confident handling life's challenges because you know that support is available when you need it? This is what happens when you're securely attached. You have a sense of trust in others' reliability and availability, and you expect them to treat you with respect and care. You set strong yet flexible personal boundaries and balance your needs with the needs of others. And you navigate the world with an inner sense of worth and resilience, knowing you are lovable and capable. As a relationship coach with a specialty in attachment, my goal is to help you get there. My work is focused on healing insecure attachment patterns so you can feel more confident and grounded and build stable and fulfilling relationships. In this video, I'm going to highlight how healing your inner child is a tool towards healing your attachment style. First, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to my channel so I can share all my tools with you. Let's quickly review where attachment styles come from. Attachment styles mainly form in early childhood based on how our caregivers respond to our needs. When caregivers consistently attune to our needs and provide comfort, safety, and support, and the outside environment is safe enough, we develop secure attachment, a basic sense of trust in the world and in our relationships. If our caregivers are neglectful, inconsistent, or unpredictable, or if the environment around us is scary, it can create insecure attachment. Insecure attachment can be seen as an adaptation. It's the way we adapt to protect ourselves from the overwhelming pain of our attachment needs not being met with enough consistency or other traumatic experiences we have as children. Our insecure attachment styles greatly impact how we experience life and the quality of our relationships as adults. So if our attachment style comes from our childhood, it follows that healing childhood experience helps heal our attachment styles. But many of us are in denial and think that was a long time ago, or what happened in my childhood doesn't affect me anymore. Or we get hard on ourselves, even if it does, and we say, why am I still dealing with this? I should be healed by now. I should be farther along. Why we're still dealing with this is because for certain parts inside us, these pains didn't happen long ago, and they're not over. Unresolved pain doesn't just go away. It gets frozen in time. It lives in the different ages of our inner child. And our inner child is a very real part of us. Let's talk about the brain for a moment. During early development, the human brain is highly adaptable, which means our experiences literally shape the way our brain is formed. It's called neuroplasticity, and that means repeated experiences directly influence how our brain forms neural pathways or how it connects to itself. Our brain will literally develop differently if we experience loving and protective interactions with our caregivers versus painful and abandoning ones. So, as children, consistently painful experiences can create wounds that affect the brain's development, especially in areas associated with emotional regulation, self-esteem, and how safe we feel in relationships. Those wounds become locked in with our age at that time, and if we don't heal them, deeply impact how we feel, think, act, and react today. Our brains are not fully matured until about age 25, which is why we need caregivers who are stable emotional regulators and attending to our needs for a long time, and a safe enough outside environment. When we don't have either one, our brain's stress response system can become altered, including the amygdala, which detects threat, and the prefrontal cortex, which manages decision-making and self-control. If the amygdala becomes overactive, this can lead to heightened anxiety, hypervigilance, or a seeming total shutdown of all emotions, which makes it harder for us to trust and connect in relationships later in life. The inner child is the part of us that carries those emotions, experiences, and unmet needs from childhood and early adult life. The inner child holds both our joyful experiences and our emotional wounds. It's not bad. It's part of how we experience happiness, love, and connection in adulthood. But when we get triggered, the wounded part of our inner child gets activated. And since we have those old neural pathways, that inner child or adapted part will take over our rational mind, and we will act from that illogical, wounded, younger part. And that strongly impacts our ability to show up securely for our intimate relationships today. Because when we experience similar pain today, it wakes up that inner child who is still holding all that past pain. And the same feelings flood us now that used to when we were younger. And the rational part of our brain goes offline, and we're left in the same unregulated emotional state as we did as kids. And then we react to that state with the same strategies we used when we were younger, which may have worked then, but don't work now. Like raging, shutting down, chasing someone for their attention or validation, or withdrawing and protecting ourselves. Let's talk about what to do now and some ways to help heal the inner child's wounds. But first, if any of this video resonates with you, consider joining the waitlist for the Awakening Relationships community. It's a place where we work on all this together, led by me, so we can show up more securely in our relationships today. I'll drop the link in the comments. Healing inner child wounds involves a few key steps. These can be met in a number of ways. The first step is recognizing and acknowledging the existence of our inner child and the wounds it carries. We need to stop denying our pain. That means getting connected to what the inner child is feeling and experiencing. It means understanding how they feel, think, and act. Next, we need to validate those feelings. Validating the feelings of our own inner child is so important because it's one thing we needed to happen in real life and we didn't get it. And we can do it now. Then we can reparent our inner child. Give them what they didn't have in the past. Reparenting is very broad, and simply put, it's being the parent we always needed. Available, protective, grounded, regulated, safe, and strong. As children, we needed caregivers who could lovingly guide us so we could feel safe to be children and then individuate in age-appropriate ways. And we could do that for ourselves now. Let's look at an example. Let's say you grew up with a caregiver who was loving sometimes and cold and distant other times. That created an anxiety in you that love could go at any moment. You could be abandoned. And so as an adult, you're highly sensitive to any perceived rejection. In a relationship, you notice any hint of emotional distance from your partner. For instance, they seem less responsive or haven't texted back as quickly. This small behavior on their part can trigger deep feelings of insecurity and abandonment. This small gap in connection can feel huge. An internal alarm goes off. You think they're going to leave me, or I'm not important enough to them. In response, you are desperate for reassurance. You send multiple texts or ask for validation over and over. This behavior creates tension as your partner starts to feel pressured or overwhelmed. Their reaction may deepen your fears of being left or unloved, so you press harder. But here's the thing. This strong reaction isn't coming from your adult self. It's coming from your inner child. Your adult self would probably say something like, I'm sure they'll get back to me soon, or I'm going to have a conversation with them about our expectations around timely responses. You would bring it up in some way. But the child can't do that because their rational brain is undeveloped. So instead, they panic and rush to fix it in the only way they know how. This cycle shows how our unresolved inner child wounds shape our reactions and patterns in our closest and most important relationships. Because they are rooted in our childhood experiences, in the pain within us that's been frozen in time. Let's imagine this scenario another way. First, imagine yourself as a younger being, as a child. See what you as the inner child are wearing, where they are, how they're holding their body. You might even imagine a tiny bit of distance between your adult self and your inner child self so you can see them clearly and give them your full attention. Now start a dialogue with your inner child. Ask them how they're feeling, what their fears are, what's happening for them right now, how this experience with the partner is impacting them. Then just listen. Listen to what they say. You might hear nothing if your inner child isn't used to being noticed, or you might hear them say something like, "I'm scared," or "Why don't they love me?" or "What if they leave?" Just listening to the feelings of the inner child without judgment is healing. Next, validate their feelings. Tell them, "I hear you. You're scared, right? It's okay to feel this way. I get it. This has happened to you before, right?" Acknowledge that their fears are real for them. Also know that these fears are coming from what they experienced as children, not from what you are experiencing now. Help them heal through reparenting. Give them what they needed at the time. Back then, what would you have needed to feel better? What could a secure adult have said or done for you to make the situation better? Now is your chance to be that secure adult for your inner child. This might look like saying to them, "I know you're scared and I'm here with you now. I'm going to stay with you and make sure you aren't alone anymore. I'm not going anywhere." Maybe they want a hug or to go play with you. Maybe they need protection from you around a scary situation. Your response to your inner child will relate directly to what they share with you. Every child needs to feel safe and protected. Continue hearing, validating, and reparenting them until you notice they calm down. Take a few deep breaths together. Put a soothing hand on your chest. This is just one type of inner child healing. There are so many. When you work to heal your inner child's wounds, the results in adult relationships are profound. Healing allows you to approach relationships from a current place, a today place, not with all the pain of the past. You experience others from a place of security and self-worth, rather than the fear and insecurity you grew up with. Thanks for being here. Please like this video and subscribe to the Awakening Relationships channel, because what we can't do alone, we can do together.